Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
We're back.
Where are we going?
Thank you to our audience there. That's great.
So we have a listener suggested topic. We're actually going to combine a couple of topics.
Not just any listener.
Not just any listener.
Rock crawling with Santiago, our
Yeah.
good friend down south.
Yeah, so many of you know Jacob Benitez, and he gave us a handful of topics that are really cool that we're going to definitely take him up on. But a couple of them really kind of go together well, so we're gonna hit two of them. We're going to be talking about secret trails and also land use issues. So I think all of it goes hand in hand. But if you, a lot of you know Jacob. If you don't, you can find him on Instagram as Rock Crawling with Santiago. We also know him as the Jeeping Professor. And he's the professor because he's a BJJ black belt. He has a school down in Las Cruces, Three Crosses Jiu-Jitsu. Very cool and dangerous gentleman. So let's talk about secret trails first. Okay, what are the pros and cons of secret trails? You know, and the question is, is it a good idea to keep them secret or not? You know, maybe it's not necessarily a good idea to share maps of all your trails. That's one school of thought, and there are others. I've definitely experienced. My opinions are in no way those of Trails Offroad. Okay, but I have been writing trail guides for those guys for a while, and I have some experience around sharing trails in that way. But my opinions are solely my own. Trails for Offroad doesn't have anything to do with this podcast, and so anything I say, you can't blame them for. So one of the negative aspects of sharing, publishing maps and trails is that, and it's
Yeah, what's the negative?
well, it's a double-edged sword.
People are going
right?
to use them?
People are going to use them. That's a positive. But people are also going to misuse them. The more people you get, right? It's just math. As humans, a certain percentage of us are total shitheads, right? That, fuck it up for everybody else. So you're going to have those people that go out and throw their trash, throw their beer cans,
Right.
burn pallets in the air down,
Yeah,
so
that's
everybody
the
gets flat
worst.
tires, right? So there are those people.
Yeah, but whoa. Let's separate those people, right? The people that are burning pallets at the air down are not people that are wheeling. Those are people that are going out and partying, and that's as far as they can get, and they brought their pallets out to keep warm.
Sometimes it's the same people.
No, it's not. Look, if you're taking pallets out, don't do that. There's nails everywhere.
There are new bypasses cut in trails, right? We've talked about this in previous episodes. Trails are being rearranged. Obstacles are being filled in because people get in over their head, and they're not built for the trails they're getting on. So
we're saying that's a negative, or you're saying that's a negative.
I'm saying that is a drawback to publishing stuff.
Does it outweigh the benefit?
Well, that's a great point, because if we're talking about public land,
Yeah, let's talk about public
Okay.
land.
public land, everybody wants it, and everybody wants everybody else off of it, right?
Why can't we just all get along?
I don't know, Rodney. Out here where we live in the Southwest, There's a lot of public land. And there are a lot of people wanting to control how it's used, even though it's public. And one of the things that we deal with there are requests for cattle leases, right? And
there's always that one asshole.
And-
Why can't we really both have it?
well, the thing,
Someone doesn't
well,
do the rules.
I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but the thing is, they do give up sections of land for cattle leases, and that can impede motorized use, right?
Which is crazy. What are these cattle eating? We live in the desert.
Yeah, well, there's grass out there, sir. You need to look around next time you're out there.
I do, and it's all brown.
It's all brown right now. It's winter. Anyway, so if you don't use public land, it's easier for somebody to remove your use, right? Either by giving a cattle lease out or giving into some special interest. I mean, you look at what's going on in Utah. Holy cannoli, right? They're shutting down land and trails left and right, right? So that's all money and driven, I'm sure, but be that as it may, the more people that use the land out here, we've seen those clickers strung across the road. They want to see how many axles are crossing that thing every day, how many people are actually getting out here and using it, to make decisions about whether they're going to restrict use or increase grazing rights or whatever. And so you do need to use it. You need to get out there and recreate, and the more people that do that responsibly, those are more people that are going to be interested in keeping those lands available to the public. And their children will be interested, and their children's children, right?
And it's not just us, right? There's mountain bikers, there's hikers.
Yeah,
right? There's
people
all kinds of people
riding
out there.
horses, looking for fossils, rock hunting, bird watching, whatever. Yeah, it's everything. So there's pros and cons to keeping it secret. Secret might mean that it's not getting used enough, and eventually it's given up by some politician or some special interest group. It ends up being in somebody else's hands, and at least for what we do, motorized access is gone. And you see that a lot in the forest, the national forests, right? You see a lot of roads and trails getting shut down. The motorized use map changes, and now all of a sudden you can't go there anymore.
Do you know any offhand?
Yeah,
I don't do it.
I don't want to name names because we were actually talking about them the last time we were out with those guys. But the trails that they're talking about up north, those are illegal now.
Well, I guess that was my...
But people are still going.
My first question is, right, do you really know, a forest road that's been closed? I don't know of any because I don't run forest roads. And even if I didn't, I wouldn't know what road I was on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've seen it happen where they're
yeah, it's
fence or
and
rocks or whatever.
Maybe they're letting vegetation regrow or some other factor, but maybe people have just been going out there and fucking up. They're driving off the map. I mean, we have an area close to here where it's out of control, right? There's a
run on the day after Christmas, just FYI.
Yeah, the motor vehicle usage map, the MVUM that the Forest Service puts out, and when I've never heard of any enforcement though either, right? The fines are heavy, but you're supposed to stay on that trail, on that map. You're not supposed to drive out into the meadows and cut ruts into everything.
I didn't even know there was a map for it.
Yeah. So, there's some areas out there where you see trails and ruts and shit everywhere. It's all off the map. It's all illegal.
And I think that's one of the things that comes to mind for me when I hear of a secret trail is that a secret trail, in my experience, in most cases, well, in some cases, is somewhere you shouldn't be.
Yeah, often that's true.
Right? Like, yeah, like up north, right? There's a trail up there that at one point was open, and I ran it when it was open. I don't remember it being very hard or anything at that point. So that talk was a little surprising about how hard it was, because I ran it in a sport track long time ago. But that's been closed for 10, 15, 10,
Yeah, a long time. But
15 years maybe.
but people still run it all the time. Salute.
Thank you.
You know, and so yeah, if it's something off limits, if it's something on private property, I could understand why you might want to keep it secret.
Yeah, because you're doing something wrong.
Well, and yeah, you don't want. I don't know. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know sometimes
So let's
there'll be a
circle
fence.
back.
Somebody will put a fence across the access to get to a legal trail. Right?
To a legal trail.
Yeah, so maybe they have the right to that road. They don't want people driving on that road to get to the legal trail, and so they put their fence up.
Can they do that?
Sure. Right? If they have the rights to that land or they own that land. Yeah.
If they own it, it's different.
Right.
Oh, but not the road. Can you own a road? A public road?
No.
No.
But it might cross their land. You know, I don't know. But yeah, that I can see why people would want to keep that secret. I think what we're really talking about is secret trails on public lands.
Right. Yeah, circling back. That. So, why would you keep it secret?
Well,
It's going to happen. It's right when we went to Hole in the Rock. How many times have you gone?
once.
Okay, so right, we talked about it while we were there. The time before that I went, none of those bypass, none of the side-by-side access was there at all. It was one way in, one way out. That's it. One road. Nothing like what you saw. Nothing like that. Right? So, is that a problem? Is that inevitable? And if it's public and we want to keep it public and they can't do the way we...
Well,
So I guess the question is, can they not go on that road and they have to make something that they can go through? Or are they just being jackasses and cutting new places?
they're being jackasses and cutting new places, and that's one of the things. So this would be an argument for keeping it secret, because the more people that go out there, right, the more they're going to trash whatever. It could be the air down, it could be cutting new trails, and you know, that's the kind of thing where other groups can come in and they can point to it and they can say, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing to this meadow. Look what they're doing to the area around the trail, on the side of the trail, right? And then they have an argument.
But how is that? How is a new trail in the area, cutting a new trail?
It depends.
Wrong.
It depends.
If it's an open area,
right? But
just because we didn't go through it.
But this isn't happening just in open areas, right? The case that we just mentioned, you know, those are Forest Service roads.
Yeah. But let's go back to.
So, and it depends. It depends on that BLM office, right? Or if it's state trust land, right? It's all different. You can't just go out and tear it up.
How about on BLM? I mean, okay, so here's the question, right? We have a map. It's got some dotted lines that we assume have only been walked.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that wrong to cut that trail?
It's not.
Why?
And we've done it and because in that particular area,
Well, that's what I
the,
mean. In that particular area,
that BLM office is cool with it, right? But I can't speak to other
no, let's
areas,
just
right?
stick
Just
with
the
that,
areas
though, right?
I run in.
Just because we cut it that way, what if someone cut it a different way? What's wrong with that? Or why is that any different?
I don't think that's a problem. What's a problem is when you're talking about the same area, right? You're in over your head and you start cutting ways out of trails and bypasses, and now you're scarring up the hillside, and you have people out there, right? It's next to a lot of wilderness areas, two preserves, a lot of wilderness observation areas, a lot of areas that have no motorized traffic because they're trying, like that OHV area is right up next to protected area, and there's not a lot of signage or anything. If people aren't paying attention and we're looking at maps, they're going to be out in that wilderness area fucking it up. And that's the kind of thing that will get the rest of it shut down. Right? And they're already starting to shut down, parts of that OHV area. Right? That's in the plans. So it's great that they have the new kiosk and that's all cool, right? It's a shit sandwich. They're going to give you something nice, and then there's going to be some shit, and there's going to be something nice at the other end, right? But it's coming, right?
So yeah, I guess that's interesting, and I guess that's what I don't understand. There's that one area, and look, I can't tell you what direction or where it's off of, but where we go, and it just basically ends, and we can't go any further.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I don't know if it's marked specifically.
It is. There's a post there.
Okay.
But
But how's
the
that
guy
different?
that's been throwing his beer cans out the window the whole way there, you think he's going to pay attention to that sign and go, oh, man, I got to respect this. Freedom, motherfucker, and I'm going to drive out there.
All right. I mean, that's fair, I guess. Yeah, I guess yeah, I don't know. I guess that's yeah, I understand that once you go past that sign, right? And that people will do it not knowing or not reading it or not paying attention or whatever. But I'm saying I guess I don't understand what scarring the land is versus cutting a new trail. Isn't that scarring the land?
A trail's kind of defined, right? It's a path, and if other people follow the path, it's a trail.
Well, the first person that goes it makes the path.
Right.
But what if they went 100 feet
Somebody
on the other
has to
side
do
of
it.
it?
Yeah, okay.
Well, what if I don't like that one and want to go 100 feet the other side?
All right, let's just say you have these two trails, right?
Okay.
Like somebody picks this way to cut the trail. Somebody else maybe starts at the same point and says, I'm going to go up this other.
Yeah, what's wrong with
Correct.
that?
Nothing.
Okay.
But then
okay.
when people start crisscrossing and cutting through, and now you have two track, like all over and around these two trails, it's a mess, right? Maybe you have more erosion. Maybe I'm not an environmentalist, but I don't think you should fuck stuff up, just because you can, because you're out there in a four-wheel drive vehicle and you can go all over the place, right? So that's a downside, right? And it's kind of a math problem. The more people that go out there, the more shitheads are going to go out there, right? It's just
but the more usage it gets and it stays open.
Right. To a point. Once it starts getting trashed and, some other special interests, whether it's the bird watchers or the rock hounds or the hikers or whatever, right? The developer, right? Somebody's going to say, look what they're doing, right? Here are examples. Here are photographs. And people go, they're misusing it, right? So there's a balance, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You do need people to use it, And public land is public. Keeping it a secret might cause you to lose it. Telling too many people and they tear it up can also cause you to lose it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess pick up after people. Try to help it out and keep it open.
So another question was, what can the average wheeler off-roader do that's impactful to help stop these closures? And we're not talking about the closures from people destroying it. We're talking about the ones that everybody looks at everybody else and what are they doing? This makes no sense, right? These trails have been around forever. Nobody's out there doing bad things. Like, this is part of our public lands and our history and, our lifestyle, and they're just getting shut down, right? Utah, again, is probably the most recent prominent example, but I think we've already discussed this, right? What everybody can do that's impactful, in my opinion, maybe the most impactful thing everybody can do, and you can do it all the time.
Follow the rules.
Yeah. Don't trash the trails. Don't trash the public lands or the facilities, or, you know what I mean? Because that's what puts stuff in jeopardy. Other than, land grabs where there's probably some ulterior motive, maybe driven by developers or something else that want to get their hands on stuff. Ranchers, nothing against ranchers, but those folks are vying for that land. It's a lot of public land out here. People have visions of what they can do with it. But I think we talked about using it. That's one impactful thing you can do, is go use the public land, recreate responsibly, treat it right. And when there is an issue, you need to be an advocate, right? We've seen the stuff from I think it's Utah Public Land Alliance, the Blue Ribbon Coalition recently. When they send out petitions, share this stuff on social media and go fill it out.
The upload thing is great.
Even if you aren't a local, a resident of that state or anything else, right? You can make your case for keeping public lands public. And the more people they hear from, I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but call your congressman.
How would you give the average uneducated person like myself, how do I know what a public land is? Is Sand Hollow public land?
All right, there's this thing.
Oh, boy.
It's called the internet. And you can look it up. The maps are out there, right?
But is Sand Hollow public land?
It's a state park. It's a state park.
So is that separate? Is that a whole different thing?
Well, state parks have a different kind of protection. So, yeah, it's public land, but it's not like open space BLM land, right? And I mean, maybe people who don't live out in the Southwest, I don't know if it's the same in your area, but out here, man, some BLM land, you can go out there and shoot. You can do all kinds of, basically do whatever you want, very few restrictions, right? They may have some fire restrictions, or they may have restrictions on certain areas they don't want you to drive in or whatever. But I mean, it's pretty, in where we live, it's pretty loose. I mean, there's literally and some BLM in Santa Fe, right, on the outskirts of town, an area that's really designated and understood to be a shooting area. There's even signage telling you there's no range officer, you're on your own, you got to be responsible, blah, blah, blah. But
it's cool to go out and shoot there.
Yeah, the BLM's just telling you, this over here, right?
Oh, wow.
But down, I don't want to say where because I don't want we wheel down there and I don't want people shooting while we're wheeling. But you hear people shooting down there in that giant sand hill, right? It's not illegal. I mean, you see shotgun shells at the air down, right? Maybe a few busted clays out there. It's not illegal. You know, so contact your officials if you hear of, some of this nonsense where they're shutting something down.
And it's real easy. Like, you don't have to go contact.
No, it's easy,
There's
right?
usually a form out there.
But back to your question, it's also pretty easy nowadays to get if you're going into the forests.
A forest road's public, right? But
Yeah.
that means staying on the forest road, right?
Yeah,
Not,
they have restrictions, like, and a lot of people don't know this, but they just assume, oh, I'm going out in the forest, national forest, I can just pull off here and
yeah, it's the
pitch a
forest
tent,
road.
right?
I'm in the forest.
I'm camping. Like, they don't even know that there's designated areas, right?
So you're really not supposed to just do that?
Really, you're not supposed to
alright.
just do that.
It's a good thing I don't camp, but
Right, but you can get this information if you have a program like Gaia or Garmin applications. I mean, there's different applications where you can download layers, map layers, and there are map layers for public lands, private lands. If you want to just look at forest land, if you want to look at the motor vehicle use map, right, you can get it. And if you really want to get old school, you can go to the ranger's office usually, or the district office. They'll have nice folded maps.
do they give them to you? You got to buy them, or you got to take a picture
I
of
can't
them? Do you
remember if I had to buy them or not. Maybe, but it's it's nominal.
Yeah.
It's not
you can't do
crazy.
that much.
But you get this, giant. It's like a sheet of plywood when you unfold it, man. It's huge.
Is that the map you gave me? Is that where that's from?
No, that one.
Did you blow it up, or
I did blow it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I still don't know how to read that damn thing.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great question. Like, how do I know if it's public land? It would have been hard, 20, 25 years ago, maybe, to figure it out without actually going to the BLM office or, But now, all the mapping software,
I'll do it for you.
yeah, they have it. I mean, Gaia certainly does. You can just get those layers. If you can layer it in right where you are, you can look at it. Trails Offroad has their main map is in
Just for
MVUM.
those people that don't know, do you need to do those layers before you go out while you have service?
It depends on the program,
Okay.
I think, but yeah, it's a good idea to learn. But I mean, some programs where you can download the maps of where you're going, and it doesn't matter if you're online, offline. Other things work off satellites.
It's good to know. I didn't know that. That's why I don't lead trails.
So yeah, I mean, how impactful it's going to be, I think is always questionable, right? But as far as like call your congressman, write your senator, all that stuff, you get that form letter. Thank you. We're really concerned about this topic too. Thanks for reaching out to us.
Do you have any idea how they use that data of the tracks across the dirt road? That sensor thing that we drive over?
I have no idea.
Oh.
Right. I just know that box, when you see that
Yeah,
hose
it's
in that
recording
box,
something.
it's counting clicks of, the number of axles that go over.
Man, that'd be some interesting data just to see how many people go out there.
Well, they actually did publish a bunch of data. I don't know, about a year ago.
Right, like how many people would it take to change though?
Because they were asking for public comments.
Right.
Because they had all these scenarios of what they were going to do with that area of BLM land. Should we do this? Should we do that? Scenario A, B, C, D had different things closing. And, ostensibly for preserving the flora and fauna out there. And when I shared that out and I was putting that out for everybody, hey, check this out, go put your comments in. I was putting on all my social media and stuff. There were a bunch of people that are pretty salty. I heard from a lot of the
Keep It Secret crowd?
The Keep It Secret crowd, the old guard. And they're like, they're just going to close it anyway. It doesn't matter. It's a waste of time. Don't do anything. Well, maybe. But certainly with that attitude, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of my question. Would 10 more people make a huge difference going over those sensors?
Well,
10 more vehicles?
That I don't know.
Right.
But when nobody's responding to those requests for comments,
yeah, then they're like, no one's interested.
10 people versus 0 people, it's definitely something. And if those 10 people can get one other person.
So if we could have a public service announcement, it would be, if you see those, share them and fill it out. Right? If you like to do this.
Yeah. So to answer the question, that's something impactful that you can do. How impactful? Who knows? I think, again, I'm being redundant, but the most impactful thing we can all do is treat those areas with respect. Don't trash them.
Help pick up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that keeps it clean. Right? Man, I saw some crazy thing. Some group went out and pulled a bunch of vehicles and stuff. I think it was in...
Is it Colorado or Utah?
Colorado or Utah.
Yeah.
But a group of them went and pulled all these old vehicles out and all kinds of crazy stuff. But good for them. I'm glad they did. I mean, that probably really helps.
Look at Ernie cleaned stuff up.
Yeah.
He cleaned up that area around exit 51. Kind of a thankless job too, but that's some stewardship right there, giving back. A lot of you know Ernie too, Ernie Armijo, 92 Unleashed on Instagram.
On the gram.
Yeah, he's another good guy, right? And, that's one of the things that is nice about knowing and rolling with those folks down there is that, they do take care of stuff. Nobody we know down there are in the throw your trash out camp, Everybody's cool. Everybody is a good steward.
Yeah. All right.
Unless we get somebody hopelessly stuck in a ravine, it's all bets are off. We got to do what we got to do to get that thing out.
All right.
Don't change your oil on the trail.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it. All right. Well, thanks again, Jacob, for
yeah, it was a great topic. That was
great ideas
really
for a talk. And let us know what you think in the comments. Is it a good idea or a bad idea to keep trails secret on public lands? And what are some impactful things, if we didn't mention anything, if you've thought of something else, what can people do to help keep public lands open for what we do, rock crawling, off-roading, overlanding, motorized vehicle use, whether it's bikes or side-by-sides or whatever.
Yeah.
It's big love in. All right. Well, let us know in the comments, and thanks for listening. If you made it all the way through.
Yeah.
You're a
Thanks,
champ.
everybody.
And we'll see you out on the trails.